Hi there. Good afternoon. Just before lunch, the emphasis for the session now was, we're talking about education technologies, especially for teachers using tools to enable better learning and for students to use that to better learn as well. Most of the classrooms are digital ready. What are the challenges? I just want to emphasize what we do is build the infrastructure to deliver different applications, services, and enablement of different technologies that can seamlessly be used for students and teachers to interact. So most of the times, every school, every university, every higher education is in different stages. As highlighted here, it could be stage one, which was basically going back to the old days where you used to have one single lab as a computer lab that people used to go in and use. That's where all the wired infrastructure was there. You had basic internet connectivity to schools. The stage two would be a classroom with a single access to a teacher using that PC or a tablet, not tablet, computers, to actually use digital content and impart learning. You might be in different stages of usage in terms of the school where you are. As we move along, as devices came on board, you had iPhones, you had the tablets, adoption of PCs, you had a requirement of stage three where you needed to have access to a campus-wide access to internet. Again, the learning expanded. It expanded to students having PCs in every classroom, beyond a single classroom. The complexity was more about interactive. How do teachers use interactive learning for imparting knowledge? In stage four, it went on to go beyond the classroom to go across social community. There has been reports and studies where a lot of students across don't have access to internet when they go back home. So again, a need for folks to stay back in school, do their learning, was very essential. So these are some of the challenges to see how administrators, IT folks in schools, in higher eds, in universities, how can they implement or have networks that can actually address all these stages of deployment. And now where we are with each student having multiple devices, latest devices, having the best capabilities in terms of performance, is impacting the networks as well. So this is how we see the different stages of the digital learning and some of the challenges that is there. What we have seen across in terms of reports, and the biggest challenge has been the budget constraints, limited budget constraints, and lack of resources for technology folks, IT folks to implement the latest and greatest network infrastructure to deliver the latest e-learning capabilities and applications that is there. Again, the top three priorities has been broadband network capacity to ensure the wired infrastructure that is built out can handle significant loads. The second is wireless access points. It always has been, and you might have experienced this, as students come on, the network goes slow, and people usually complain. That's one thing that teachers don't want to handle because they have so many things to do. You want to make sure that the network that rides on works seamlessly, irrespective of the number of students that are there as well. And then we are seeing a lot of digital content that's being, content that's been digitized from an education perspective. So mobile learning is getting a key adoption in various forms, starting from K to 12, going to higher eds. So some of these challenges, how do you address with limited budgets or with minimum budgets, or even some universities have the ability to actually spend as well. So, but underlining factor is how do you ensure you can maintain privacy and security. So the top three challenges that we see for K to 12 schools, and this could be for universities as well, is network scaling, right? How do you ensure that the infrastructure that is there could scale to the demand of usage that is required today? Second is student data privacy, ensuring, one is infrastructures being hacked. We heard about from a speaker, Mr. Chung from HP, talking about securing printers and PCs. how can you actually secure access information of students, information of their own educational data, how do you secure that? And then last is ensuring that from a network infrastructure perspective, it's reliable, because as digital learning gets expanded and gets dominance in terms of how education is imparted more from textbooks to digital, you want to ensure that networks are reliable at all given points of time. So let's look at network scaling to begin with. This is where we're coming from. It used to be a teacher using a PC, imparting knowledge, and students learning from it. It used to be digital textbooks or PDF files or projectors. Now you have digital classrooms that is there. And now we are moving towards a classroom that is really complex. It is really high tech. Again, you have a host of devices in your classrooms. You have wireless devices, you have network devices, you have cameras, you have laptops, you have tablets, you have smart boards, voice, a lot of applications. In the future, we are looking at IoT type devices as well. That's going to be in classrooms that could be used for various other use cases. So there is a tremendous stress in terms of what is being deployed in every classroom and how we are digitizing it in various forms. So this is where we are going towards, and how do you ensure that the network that is lying can actually handle all these? And remember one thing, all these are connected with Wi-Fi or over wireless. So you want to ensure reliability that you can actually maintain all these services seamlessly. So what contributes to the scaling challenge is BYOD devices. Now you're having students to bring in, or initially these days, at least in Singapore, schools are giving tablets to, limited number of tablets to students on a per session basis. But in the future, we are going to see every student carrying their own iPads coming into public schools in Singapore. So faculty, staff accessing information anywhere, everywhere. They have their own devices. They want to make sure that they have access to information. You're seeing digital TVs having higher capabilities in terms of 4K videos. Students uploading assignments, interactive learning. There's a lot of stress on the infrastructure that actually is adding to the scaling problems that is there. Then you have high-end PCs, IP video surveillance, digital signage, IoT devices. All these kind of add on to this challenge that is faced and deployed across, and the Wi-Fi wireless networks have to handle all these scaling challenges. The second is student data privacy, right? This is another concern that is there. Once you have all these devices coming onto the network, how do you secure these devices? How do you secure the data of the users that are connected to the devices? How do you want to make sure that they're easily connected? One of the biggest challenges in schools, at least in primary schools in Singapore, is in my kids, they don't remember passwords, right? And how do you have means of eliminating passwords? Because the easiest way for an IT guy is to change a password every month. But again, changing passwords does not really help because kids don't remember passwords. And if a password is written in the classroom whiteboard or a blackboard, it's known, it's not secure. He can come and tell me, hey, Dad, this is the password in my school. I know this now. So again, how do you eliminate some of these things is the key challenge. So security-wise, it's more than securing the perimeter, right? It's hacks. We talked about hacks. The previous speakers talked about infrastructure getting hacked. Unfortunately, we have seen that a lot of times things happen internally, right? Firewall is there that is used to ensure, and you have to have that to ensure that externally you don't get hacked. But again, a lot of data breaches. What we're talking about is access to information can be breached from internal sources itself. So how do you want to make sure that you're tracking all these things? People who have access to information, IT folks, you want to make sure that they're not accessing information that they're not allowed to access. Teachers from different classrooms cannot access students, or they're only allowed to access information to their students and not others. So how do you restrict access to information which is not supposed to be for them, right? These are some of the challenges that they have. So what is student data? You're looking at student name, identification number, date of birth, where they are from, the whole background information, the address of parents, email addresses of parents as well. Attendance data is something that is key. You want to ensure that, when you're doing analytics, how is student coming in? Are they regular in schools? How are they behaving? Their attendance, their records, the school records, their mark sheets, their test scores, for example, that is there. How they have progression. All this forms a complete set of student data. You want to ensure that these are secure. These are accessed by only those folks that are allowed to access, and not by everybody else as well. Because nowadays, the access to education or imparting is becoming very customized. Usually, previously, you're talking about imparting, teachers teaching, and every student has different levels of how they pick up things. But now with digital learning, you can actually impart, or the teachers are looking to impart education in different forms so that each student have their own pace of learning, and that could be customized as well. So how do you use that information across? Where is the student data, right? If there's a school that basically has multiple branches, it could be centralized or it could be decentralized. Or if it is part of a public school system, it could be all centralized in the Ministry of Education or Department of Education. You can access information from there. You have various places where this information could be, and when folks go in from one branch to the other branch, you would like to access that information across different campuses. You want to make sure they are secure. So there are various stages of where the student data resides. It could be centralized or decentralized. You want to make sure this is securely accessed at all given points of time. And most of the times it's done over wireless. And you want to make sure that it is secure, right? The challenge, again, is because of customized learning and identifying, and access of information is usually breached from within. You want to make sure that access to information, there's a very fine balance between what is acceptable and what is being misused. Because I can take that data and actually sell it to marketing companies or education companies that is there for actually doing advertising. So you want to make sure that privacy is firmly secure. And that's one aspect of how do you secure data as well. So what contributes to the security solutions? You certainly have cybersecurity as a perimeter. You want to ensure that the whole infrastructure from external is secure. The network is secure as well, both wired. You're talking about printers, you're talking about PCs, you're talking about any network device that is there is secure, both at the edge, the site, and the data center. BYOD, you're bringing on your laptops, your tablets, your PCs, your phones. You want to ensure they are secure as well. How you can eliminate without having passwords. Secure guest access, parents going into school. Usually you basically, it's a free Wi-Fi access. Again, how can you actually have that more secure? Because public access is not secure. You want to make sure guests coming in, parents coming in for events, they have guest access. You can make it secure. Policy management, and the idea is with Wi-Fi and with wireless, you want to be access to information anywhere and everywhere, because with digital learning, you would like to access some of the information from homes, so you have restricted access as well. So some of these things come in and contribute towards how the security solution is. So one aspect of it is, policy onboarding and device enablement. And the easiest way to eliminate the need of passwords is all about certificate-based onboarding. If I can actually onboard devices, and that's what we've been focusing on, especially in the education vertical, is to eliminate passwords and have PKI certificate-based onboarding of devices, so that it eliminates the pressure on the IT folks to change passwords regularly. And with certificate-based onboarding, you can have policy per device. Let's say if a teacher and a principal has two devices, one given by the school and one personal device, you can actually have different policies that his or her personal device does not have access to school data. It can only go to internet or some limited access. The device given by the school has complete access. You can have policies as well. So you want to make it seamless, simple, and secure. And if a student leaves, or if a professor or teacher leaves, or if a visiting lecturer is coming in, he has limited access to as long as when he's there. It's all automated. The idea is, how do you automate some of these things so that you can focus from a technology perspective? We can eliminate all these hassles and automate things, and you can focus on delivering education as you're focused on as well, and you're supposed to. So all this combined, we can actually do analytics as well, because you have policy management, you have secure guest access to ensure who's accessing the network, from where is he accessing, and what data he's accessing. All this information is available. And the last thing is network reliability. This is the last biggest challenge that is there, because again, you might be seeing in your schools today, again, in different stages of where you are, as I described earlier on, stage 1 to stage 5. For your network, here's an example, right? Assume you have 1,000 hours of instructional time per year, and assuming 5,000 students, even less than 10% of instruction today is online. You have huge amount of time and data that is being actually used online. So the important factor is ensuring more uptime and more bandwidth. You want to ensure the network is completely reliable. Here's an example, right? A 5-minute disruption in the network. Previously, we used to have an outage, let's say. People really don't care, right? If you see the network in the first chart on top, it's only online instruction time. Again, it's not a huge impact. But as things progress and as we move towards a complete digital learning today, and classrooms are getting digitized from 0% to 100%, we're not there at 100%, but close to around 60 to 80%. The outage and network reliability, even 5 minutes, is very, very critical. You want to ensure that you have absolute less downtime. What I mean by that is it's also about access to information. When many students come on, you see the Wi-Fi becomes slow. You start having loops. You start waiting for things to load. You want to ensure that these sort of outages don't happen, and you're actually able to deliver real-time streaming at all points of time. These are some things that is essential that network administrators, IT administrators are starting to look into, or have to start looking into as well, as they build digital-ready classrooms. That is there. You have a lot of cloud-based ecosystems. There are various vendors. You have the Googles of the world, the Microsoft, the Apples. Each one is providing digital content in various forms. Everything is cloud-based. Everything is either hosted somewhere, and it's all content and heavy on data usage as well. So you want to make sure collaboration services run seamlessly across in digital classrooms, and that is an emphasis of network reliability. That also goes into where this is hosted, right? Online instructions could be on the cloud. Again, you need to ensure that you have enough bandwidth coming into the schools, and access to that information is, again, available at all given points of time. From here, we are moving towards everything that is hosted in the cloud, right? So ensuring that SLAs are met is also very key. Ensuring you have backup ISPs so that access to all this relevant information, especially e-learning applications, is accessible at 100% of the time. So what are the solutions you're looking at? From an infrastructure perspective, you want to make sure a wired infrastructure can support these growth in demand in things that you add to the classroom. You have a lot of cameras that is coming. Security is becoming, physical surveillance security is becoming key in schools. You're looking at IoT devices. You're looking at printers. You want to ensure the network infrastructure is upgraded to support at a least cost so that you get the best bang for the buck, because again, you have limited budgets. You want to ensure student data privacy. How do you eliminate without passwords? So you have solutions where we can look into to automate some of these onboarding solutions. And the most important part is how you are able to access information so that you can actually handle huge number of clients doing HD video at once. At least in classrooms, you have 60 students, 30 students. Usually these days it's 25 to 30 students, but if it's a university lecture hall, it's 100 and 150 students. You want to ensure that the network is reliably and able to access at all points of time. And that's the focus for Ruckus, is to look at, from a solution perspective, we have products and solutions that allow technology folks, IT folks, to implement simple solutions like CloudPath, which is basically an onboarding solution, controllers that is cloud-based so that you can actually look at a cloud-based and access information across from everywhere. Network infrastructure, Wi-Fi access points that is actually deployed to handle reliable and high-speed connection that is there. And we work with partners like Google's and AirWatch and Palo Alto's of the world to ensure that security-wise, you're looking at all forms of security, is access to information is done reliably and secure. So this is what I have. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer some of them. Or we have a booth, Ruckus, out there. We can have some discussions again. But in summary, this is what I wanted to emphasize is some of the 3 challenges that is there. Network scaling, security, and network reliability are the 3 challenges that we look to address, especially from a digital learning perspective. Okay. Thank you very much.